Alright, boys, we're back. The end of our GM mode commentaries for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But it ended on a good note with a Stanley Cup win in year 5, our final year. So, this video will be a whole wrap-up video to the Toronto Be a GM mode commentary. We'll go through some of our stats, our awards. We'll look at our last 5 years. I'll take a look at the contract situation, and then we'll go into our judging system, the same thing that we had for the New Jersey Devils GM mode commentary. So we won the Stanley Cup. Let me just simulate a few days here just to go to the end so it has all the awards, simulates the end of the season. We'll go as far as we can here, see what happens, and we'll break down the Leafs team. The Stanley Cup is coming home with the Toronto Maple Leafs. On behalf of all the fans and the entire organization, I wanted to personally thank you for your hard work and effort this year. Great job, no problem. Stanley Cup champions, your Toronto Maple Leafs. All right, good job, boys. Here's the goodbye letter. You and I have been through a lot these past 5 years, and now it's time to part ways. On behalf of the Toronto Maple Leafs, I wanted to sincerely thank you for your long and distinguished tenure as GM. Long. In case you were wondering, you ended up first overall in the NHL power rankings. I was like second overall in New Jersey, first overall in Toronto. Oh my. Yeah, we don't need to read this again. It's just a congratulations banner. Yeah, alright, yeah, that's all good. Alright, so we're at the end of the season. Can't simulate another day. So let's go down through all the stats here. We'll start with the awards for this year. Sure, why not? And we can check out the awards for the last 4 years. So look at that. The Toronto Maple Leafs, your 2015-2016 Stanley Cup champions. And if you go down, 2012-2013, also the Stanley Cup champions. Not too bad, not too bad. President's Trophy. Yeah, we couldn't win a President's Trophy 1 year, but that's fine. That's fine. We were more of a playoff team. Clarence S. Campbell, the Western Conference. The Prince of Wales, look at that. Eastern Conference champions, 4 years in a row. Toronto Maple Leafs, I like that. That's a good trophy to win. Art Ross, Alexander Ovechkin, yeah. Hart Memorial, Alexander Ovechkin. James Norris, Alex Pietrangelo. Lady Byng, Patrick Kane, really? Calder Memorial, Jonathan Huberdeau. You got the rookie. Conn Smythe, James Reimer, look at that. He won it in 2012, 2013, and now in 2015, 2016. Oh my. A 28-year-old goaltender with 2 Stanley Cup rings, 2 Conn Smythes, 2 more years on his contract at 3.3. Oh yeah, that was a horrible decision. Horrible. Vezina Trophy. Carey Price, yeah. Typical. William N. Jennings, Yaroslav Halak, yeah. Bill Masterton, Jay Harrison, Frank J. Selke, Jonathan Toews. Well, it's not Pavel Datsyuk anymore. Ted Lindsay, Alexander Ovechkin, Maurice Richard, Alexander Ovechkin. And there you go. Okay, so there's all the awards, boys. We will take a look at what should we look at next? We don't need to look at our stats like that. What would be nice to look at is contract situation. Yes, the contract situation. So if you guys remember the GMO commentary for New Jersey, I purposely made it so that all the contracts ended on the year that I was finished, but you guys were saying that's not a good thing because then the GM that's coming in to replace me has all these salary contracts to deal with to try and stay under the cap. So for this one, I kind of just try to extend some years out. So for our centers, we got Getzlaf for another. This is the year that's going up right here. So it's this after this. So we still have Getzlaf for another 2 years. Giroux we have for another 4 more years. So we got Getzlaf and Giroux locked up for pretty cheap too. I mean, they're both in the 90s, and Getzlaf is at 5.55. Giroux's at 4.55. You know what? We'll take a look at each player here individually, see what their stats were. Look at Getzlaf's stats for the last. It only shows you for the last 4 years, which kind of sucks, but still pretty good. I mean, this was one of the greatest trades that we had. I mean, Getzlaf, 80 point, 75, yeah, a bit low, but this past season, 93 points. I mean, this guy was our first-line center for 5 years. He was great, man. Look at this, 130 penalty minutes this season. Jesus. But yeah, man, Ryan Getzlaf, he was a great pickup for us. He had a great career here in Toronto. And Claude Giroux, let's see what he had too. Again, same thing. Look at this great season that he had in year 3. 40 goals, 51 assists. Good God. But yeah, he got back to his old form this season with 80 points. 60 assists on that first line. Yeah, that first line is like perfect now with the playmaker, the power forward, and the sniper. I really like it. Claude Giroux, so we still have Giroux for 4 more years. Jordan Staal we have for another 3 more years. He fits into that perfect third-line center position, yeah. Not too bad. Let's see if his stats. Yeah, see, he's more of a third line. He doesn't get a lot of stats, but I'm fine with that. He's a perfect third line. Two-way forward, penalty killer. Our penalty kill was a lot better. Antoine Vermette, he's going to be up this year, so that 4.8 million, we can maybe re-sign him. He's only C potential, but his salary is up this year. But that's fine. I wanted that. Players like that, you only want to sign them to 1-year contracts. Joe Colburn, 1, 2. We still have Joe Colburn for another 2 years. Pretty cheap. He's getting pretty good points there on the second line. 49 points in year 4, 52 points in year 3. So year 5, 49 points in year 4. So he's getting better there. He's been getting some points for us. So he's a developing rookie who is getting better. 2 more years on his contract, so that's not bad. Max Domi, look at this young prospect that I picked up. Oh, look at this guy. Still has the bees. Still like Kadri. Yeah, he's pretty good. We'll go down. I'll let you guys see all the prospects that we have as well. Poveros, no, Jesus, I can't even pronounce that. Yeah, not a bad prospect you got there. All these guys B minus potentials. So we got our core of centers locked up for the next at least few years here. You guys can see. Vermette's going to be up, but that's fine. We have our top 3, and then we have all these young prospects at center. So center, that's our situation for center, boys. Left wingers, Andrew Ladd's contract is up this season, but that's 4.7, so that's good in a form, you know what I mean? That way we can save a lot of money to sign some players that we may need. Clapperton, and then the rest are pretty much young prospects. Clapperton, Tanguay, Broll, Zubov, all these B-minus potential guys. Look at that. All 22, 23 years old. So our left wing, yeah, we only have one natural left winger, NHL ready, but we have a plethora of young prospects on the left side ready to come up. And look at this guy, Christopher Clapperton. Oh, this guy's going to be great. Oh, yeah. A-minus potential still for offense. He's still getting better. Oh, yeah, baby. Right wingers, Jeff Skinner. Oh, yeah, this guy. We still have him. We got him at the greatest deal ever. We still have him for another 2 years. Way to go. Kessel, we still have for another 4 more years. Let's see how Phil Kessel, let's see what his career was in Toronto. You know what? Nothing special, but that's what Phil Kessel gets like in real life. So, I mean, other than this year. So, you know what? Our GMO commentaries would have been better with Lupul and Kessel with the update. But what are you going to do, right? 69 points year 2, 60 points in year 3, a bit low. 71 points in year 4, not bad. And then 62 points. But he's getting those on the second line. So, that's depth scoring. I like it. He had a good career for us. Good career. We still have him for another 4 years. Pretty good, pretty good. Grigorenko, this guy. Well, we have him for another 1 more year. But look how good this guy's got. Oh, my God. Look at that offensive category. It's already at the 88s, 90s. It still has A for offense. Holy crap. This guy is definitely going to be a stud for us. He's played 2 seasons in the NHL, 35 points in his rookie, and then 53 points in his second. Not too bad, not too bad. He's slowly but surely getting better. I like it. Jerome McGinley, he didn't retire. He came back. Jerome did not want to retire, unless the retirements haven't happened yet. Maybe they haven't happened yet. His contract is up this year, so we'll save some salary there. Wayne Simmons, this guy has been great for us. Third line right winger. Consistent 30, 25, 24 points. That's only because he's back there, but I don't care about that. How many more seasons do we have this guy for? He's a depth player for us. 1, 2. We have him for 2 more seasons. Way to go. Kobe Armstrong, his salary's up, so there's 2.4 that's freed. That's good. And then young prospects on the right side. Obviously, Grigorenko, this Kupsov guy. Siwak, who's actually a B potential. That's pretty good. Gabriel, Belrive, B potential. Hatcher, Laxo. So we have a bunch of young prospects as well for the right wingers. Not bad. Defensively, here's our, oh Jesus, here's where we're so strong. Mark Stahl, we have for another 4 more years. All right, Luke Schen's contract is up this year, so that's something big. So that's only one superstar. He can easily re-sign him. He's only 26 years old and he's 90 overall. Good God. Dion Phaneuf, our captain, we still have for another 4 more years, just like Mark Stahl. So Mark Stahl and Dion Phaneuf are going to be our oldest guys back there. They're going to play until they're 35 on the Leafs, and they can, so that's great for us there. Cody Franzen, we have for a steal, 1, 2, 3. We have him for another 3 years. Yeah, Keith Ollie, 1, 2. We have Ollie for another 2 years. Jake Gardner for another 1 more year. So our defensive core, we have everybody for at least another year except for Luke Schenn, but we can easily re-sign him. Then the young prospects, Renee Hunter, Genevieve, Duim, Lewington, Furland, Sundikoff. So 6 prospects, B minuses, all in their early 20s, all in their mid 70s or high 70s. So we got prospects for defense, and then goaltenders. We got Jim Reimer, who ends up with an 88 overall. He didn't get any better, boys. He's almost up there. He's almost up there. If you look at his offensive or reflexes category, look, you remember they used to be all 88s and 87s. You got some 90s in there. That's what I mean. If you get another season or two with a deep playoff run, by the time he's 30, 31, he'll be a 90. He'll be a 90 overall. And when the goalie's 31, he's got 4 more years in him. So, I mean, Jim Reimer, he's a great goalie to have, and we have him for another 2 years at $3.3 million. Hell yeah, that's a great steal. That's a great steal. Gustafsson, the key backup once again. He's got only a 1-year contract. Naslund, he's a young prospect for us as a goalie. He's gotten pretty good. Look at that, BB. Yeah, he's getting really good, actually. So that's a good super sweet. You got prospect for a goalie. And then these 2 other prospects, 22 and 20 years old, B minus potential. So we got prospects everywhere. We're going to be basically the same team out in the ice for the next 5 years because we can easily afford it with all the steals that we have. The only players that we have to re-sign in this offseason is, like, the key core players is Luke Shen, Andrew Ladd, and Antoine Vermette, Colby Armstrong, and Jerome McGinley. But really the only player that you need to sign is Luke Shen and maybe Andrew Ladd. Everyone else, maybe you're getting old, you want to let the rookies play. But if we wanted to sign all those guys, I'm leaving a cap space of $22 million. So you could definitely re-sign McGinley, Armstrong, Vermette, Ladd, and Shen, all right, for $22 million. Re-sign all these rookies. So I think we've left them in good state. We can afford everybody easily. We still have our core out there for at least the next year. The GM has a lot of options coming into this, all right? He has a lot of options. So there's our team, boys. The last thing we'll do here before we go switch to our judging system, I'll let you guys take a look at our statistics here. And there you go. There's our 5 years with the Toronto Maple Leafs. All right, not too bad, not too bad. Let you guys look at that. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to the judging system just like last year, all right? Got a few different options for you guys, and I want to know how you guys are going to judge me as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So let's switch over to that. Okay, so here it is, boys, the judging system for the general manager. You guys get to judge me in 3 different categories and let me know how I did. They're broken up into statistics, future, and general manager jobs. First, we'll start in statistics. My overall record, regular season overall record, was 231 wins, 148 losses, and 31 overtime losses. A very good record, a very good record. Considering when we came in, the Leafs were a borderline playoff team. Remember, I had to make some big trades just to make us into the playoffs, right? Over 5 years with that kind of record, we're way above 500. Even if you add in the overtime losses with the regulation losses, way above 500. So our overall record was great. Our goals for, 1,249 goals for, and goals against 1,087 for a plus-minus rating of 162. Not bad for over 5 years. It could have been a bit better. Our goals against kind of got up there because our goalie situation for the regular season wasn't the greatest as it could be, but our goals for was skyrocketing. Over 1,200 in 5 years, that's great. That's great for us. Our playoff record, now here's where it gets really interesting. A very good playoff record. Even though we had those 2 Stanley Cup losses, still a very good playoff record. Our first year, the year that we didn't know if we were going to make the playoffs, with those trades for Getzlaf and Hiller, our team actually had our best regular season, getting over 50 wins. But we were actually kicked out in the first round. So the first year, I don't know if you want to call it an upset or a overachieving season because it was the first time we made it back to the playoffs. I didn't know whether we'd make it back, but we did make it in. Even though we got kicked out in the first round, we made it back. So it was a bit of an okay year. The next year after that, though, oh my God. We won the Stanley Cup, and I didn't think we'd win the Stanley Cup that year. It was a weird year. Seems like year 2 is just a weird year for our GM mode commentaries. Third year, made it to the finals, but we lost. Fourth year, same thing, deja vu, made it to the finals, but lost. And then the 5th year, we made everything right with another Stanley Cup ring. So playoffs, we made it to the playoff every single year, and we made it to the finals in 4 out of those 5 years. So an outstanding record, okay? Absolutely outstanding. And you know what? We didn't win the President's Trophy a single time, but we're a 4-time Eastern Conference champion. Once again, that's an outstanding record. So statistics, if I'm going to give myself a rating here, boys, I want your opinions as well, but statistically, I'd give myself a 9 out of 10. Now, this is better than the New Jersey Devils GM mode commentary. We won 2 cups. The reason I'm giving myself a 9 out of 10, I'm not going to give myself anything higher because we still could have won a 3rd Stanley Cup. We could have won 4 or 5 Stanley Cups. We could have won some President's Trophy regular seasons in there. Okay, so there's room for improvement. But if you make it to the finals 4 years in a row, all right, it doesn't matter about your regular season. If you make it to the Stanley Cup Finals 4 years in a row, you're at least the second best team in 4 consecutive years. Okay, out of 30 teams, to be in the top 2, I mean, that alone gives me the 9 out of 10. So that's my rating for statistics. All right, boys, what do you guys think? How was I statistically? Next, we have future, and this is how I'm going to rate myself for the future. First of all, we can keep this same team together for at least 2 more years. The team that just won the Stanley Cup, except for the 4th line with Iginla, Vermette, and Armstrong. Those might be tradable or movable assets if we come into salary cap problems. But for the most part, our core players, our defensive core, our goalie, all of our good forwards, they're going to be able to stay on this team for at least 2 more years, okay? We have a lot of great contracts, a lot of young players. So this team that just made it to the Stanley Cup Finals 4 years in a row, we're going to have this exact same team for at least 2 more years, okay? The exact same team. We have young prospects for every position. The guys playing down in the AHL like Max Domi, Clapperton, all right, Naslund in net. We have prospects for every single position. I showed you guys a bunch of B- and a few B potential guys for every single position. So it's not like we have superstars down there, but we have players who will either become in the mid-80s who we can trade later, like the Kuhlman Kadri for Domi and Skinner kind of thing. Or they actually might turn out to be something good. So we have prospects in this system. So our future is looking bright for that. Now, remember how I said only a few B- potentials? We have Grigorenko, Skinner, and Shen, who are all future superstars. I know Shen's kind of getting a bit old. Well, not old, but, he's in his 5th year. He's not really considered a prospect anymore. But Grigorenko and Skinner are both below 25 years old. They're going to be 90 overall snipers. You can build your team around these 2 winger snipers. And then Shen, a 90 overall defenseman. These guys are future superstars, all right? They'll be part of our team for at least 10 years. Okay, so future's looking really bright in those 3 guys. Also, I've said this before, but we have many good contracts, okay? If the general manager who's taking over for me decides that the salary cap is becoming an issue in 3 or 4 years from now, because our players have great contracts, they're very cheap, they'll be easy to move, very easy to move. Players like Colburn, Simmons, our defensemen, if you trade them before they want their next contract, everyone's going to want a big raise the next contract, but we have them all for another 2, 3, 4 years at their contract right now. So if the future GM wants to move them before the contract is up, they'll be great assets to move. You'll get a lot back for that, all right? Easy assets to move with those contracts. And you know what? Our oldest core players are Dion Phaneuf and Ryan Getzlaf. Those guys need to be part of our team if we're going to be successful again, and they're only 31 years of age. They have at least 3 more years in them before they start to get worse. So again, our team is ready to go for the next 2-3 years easily. So if I'm going to give myself a rating out of 10 for future, I got to give myself a 9.5 out of 10. It's a bit high up, I know, but we're a Stanley Cup winning team. We have prospects in every position. All right, we have superstars ready to go. Our oldest guys are only 31 years old. The future is looking very bright for the Toronto Maple Leafs, okay? 9.5 for me. What do you guys think? Out of 10, what should the future be? And lastly, we have general manager jobs. Now, this field is very wide, okay? There's probably a few things that you guys think that I should have done or shouldn't have done and that I can't remember or I don't even think of. So go crazy with your opinions here. But for me, the general manager jobs, there's a few things here. First, Getzlaf, Giroux, Skinner, Simmons, Ladd, and the Stahl brothers, players that are a part of our core that we wouldn't have won the Stanley Cups without. These guys were all traded for, okay? So this was part of my job. I made trades for all these players. There's a few other players that I traded for, but these guys are all part of our team. They helped us win the Stanley Cup. And I think these were good trades, you know. A few of them I overextended for, but what are you going to do? Second, the Skinner and Domi trade. When I traded for Jeff Skinner and Max Domi from the Carolina Hurricanes, and I gave up Kadri and Kuhlman, a prospect that I wasn't going to use, and somebody else, I forget who it was, and Skinner's trade value was like at halfway, and it went through. That was probably the greatest trade I've ever done in any GM mode commentary. Because I think, halfway through the season, then we saw Jeff Skinner's trade value at like 70 or 75%. So we got him right before he went up, and he's turned out to be a stud for us. So that was a great trade. One of my best. Keeping James Reimer was a great decision. Remember the whole salary cap issue? This goes back to that. If I wanted to go out and get Price or Millard, I'd have to give up, 2 first-round picks, because their trade value is probably 100%. I'd have to give up like 2 first-round picks or one of my core players, and then also incur another $3 or $4 million to the cap. So I think keeping James Reimer and developing him was a great idea, and he turned out to be a 2-time Conn Smythe Trophy winner, so not a bad idea. But as I was saying before, some of the trades were overextended. I did overextend for a few trades actually, but the one that really comes to mind was the Brad Richards for the first rounder from the LA Kings. Remember that? I was trying to get Dustin Brown and a first rounder, and it was the first overall pick from LA, and they wouldn't do it, so I settled for the first rounder for the next year, and it was just, they totally got me in that trade. Remember that? Yeah. So that was a really bad decision there by the general manager. But, we got Andrew Ladd for that first rounder, so it all kind of came back. So there's some good trades, but that was a perfect example of a bad trade. I'm sure there's a few more you guys can remind me about. Another good decision was developing some of our players. Developing Colburn, Ollie, Gardner, Simmons, and Reimer has provided us depth at a very good price. Because Reimer, Colburn, and Ollie and Gardner, and even Simmons a little bit. I know Simmons, he gets good anyways, but we played these guys, and now they're NHL ready. If you don't play them, they might not get that good. I'm especially happy with Colburn. He's in a second-line center position. That's great. That's great. We developed him really good. And Colburn and Gardner both have Colburn, Gardner, and Reimer are all at great contracts right now. So developing those players was a great decision. But here's a question: did I make too many trades? I felt like we didn't have a solid core from year one. It felt like we were rebuilding. But is that a bad thing? Because it's like if we had another 5 more years on this general manager commentary, then you'd see where I don't make any more trades. Our team is in place right now. So it was kind of like the 5 years that I spent in Toronto, we were rebuilding for 5 years. Even though we made it to the Stanley Cup Finals 4 out of the 5 years, we were constantly tweaking our team, rebuilding. But now, if I started again 5 years, I wouldn't change the team. All right, so yeah, too many trades, I'd agree with that, but we were a rebuilding team, all right? Toronto wasn't a rebuilding stage, but now we are rebuilt, and I don't see us making too many trades in the near future whatsoever. I see this team going on for the next 3 years, contending for that Stanley Cup. And free agency wasn't a factor for us, except for some of the fourth-line pickups that we got, like Jerome McGinley, Antoine Vermette, and a backup goalie. But for somebody that contributed as one of our core players, no, free agency was not an issue. So for general manager jobs, because there was a few overextended trades and we made a lot of trades, a lot of players going all over the place, I'll give myself a 7.5 out of 10. There was a lot of good decisions, but there were a few bad decisions. But at the end of the day, our team is ready to go. It was a rebuilding stage, but still, because of those few bad trades, if I would have gone back, I could have made better trades, right? So, yes, I'll give myself a 7.5 out of 10 for general manager jobs. But, boys, I want you to remind me, was there anything that I forgot or left out in this category? Let me know. Out of 10, what should I get scored on? So once you guys have all your scores for all 3 categories, add them all up, divide by 3, and you'll get your total out of 10. My total score for the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs is 8.6 out of 10. That's right. Not a bad score, not a bad score. When it's all said and done, you can say all the roster moves, you can say all the trades, you can say all the bad seasons when it comes to goaltending or penalty kill, whatever. At the end of the day, we made it to the Stanley Cup Finals 4 out of 5 years. And we won the Stanley Cup 2 out of 5 years, or 2 in 4 years. Okay? At the end of the day, that's what a coach comes down to. That's what a general manager comes down to. You get paid to win. All right, especially in a market like Toronto. It's not just about making money, it's about sustaining winning seasons. And every year we made it to the playoffs, and 4 out of the 5 years we made it back to the final, all right? That's 4 rounds of playoffs for all the Leaf Nation to see every single year. All right, it's good hockey, it's good revenue. It's just good for all categories of your hockey team. Revenue, money, excitement, growth, all that good stuff. So if I'm going to give myself a rating, 8.6 out of 10. So that's it, boys. That's it for the Toronto Maple Leafs Be a GM Mode commentary. Don't worry, I'm going to make another video letting you guys know and asking you guys which team to use next, so you don't have to go crazy in the comments for that. There will be another video, so don't worry. But this is it for the Toronto Maple Leafs, all right? Toronto, GTA, Leaf Nation, I hope I served you guys the best way I could in providing you guys what you want most. A blue and white dynasty. 2 out of 4 years, boys. 2 out of 4 years. General Superbman says goodbye and thank you.